For most of our lives, we're taught one financial skill, how to save. We're taught to build a pile as high as we can. But then one day the game changes. You reach the top of the mountain and suddenly you have to learn an entirely new skill, how to actually spend that money without the constant fear of running out. It's a massive psychological shift. Retirement isn't just a financial deadline, it's either a finish line where you stop or a starting gun for a brand new chapter. Today, I'm going to walk you through the definitive guide to retirement planning. We're going to look at the three major storms that can blow you off course, the truth about the 4% rule, and why your house and your taxes are just as important as your pension. But most important, we're going to talk about how to turn a bank statement into a life of purpose. Let's head to the video session and map out your new beginning.
You know, when we hear the word retirement, most of us immediately picture a big pile of savings, right? But what if I told you the size of that pile is only half the story? Real retirement planning isn't just about saving. It's about building a strategic roadmap for the rest of your life. So, let's start with the most fundamental question of all. Do you see retirement as the end of your career, or is it the beginning of a whole new chapter? Is it a finish line, or is it a starting gun? Your answer to that question is going to shape every single financial decision you make from here on out. Okay, so to build that new beginning, you're going to need a solid foundation. And that foundation doesn't start with how much money you have. Nope. It starts with a much more important question. How are you going to turn all those savings into a reliable income stream? This is what we call your retirement income style. Think of it like your personal game plan for turning that mountain of savings into a predictable paycheck. Are you going to be a total return kind of person, carefully selling off assets over time? Or do you crave the security of a guaranteed income, something that shows up no matter what the market is doing? This is the first and honestly the most crucial decision you'll make. But just choosing a style, that's only the beginning. Now, you've got to stress test it against reality. Because every retirement journey, no matter how well-funded it is, has these hidden risks you have to anticipate and outsmart. And let's be really clear here, preparation isn't about avoiding risk. That's just impossible. It's about building a plan that's resilient enough to handle the inevitable storms. And there are three major financial storms we need to get ready for. First up, there's longevity risk. Put simply, this is the risk of outliving your money. Now, that's a pretty great problem to have, but it is a problem. With people living well into their 90s and even beyond, a 20-year plan just isn't going to cut it anymore. Your strategy has to be built for the long haul. Next is a risk that most people totally overlook: sequence of returns. This is absolutely fascinating. See, it's not just about how your investments perform on average, it's about when the good and bad years happen. This slide shows it perfectly. A big market downturn in your first few years of retirement can be catastrophic because you're forced to sell assets at low prices just to live. But get good returns early on? That can create a tailwind that lasts for decades. The timing is everything. And the third major risk is what financial planners call spending shocks. You know what I call it? Life. A sudden medical emergency, a leaky roof that just has to be fixed, a call from a child who needs help. These are the budget busters that can derail even the most detailed plan if you haven't built in a buffer for the unexpected. So, knowing all those risks, we finally arrive at the million-dollar question. Or, well, maybe it's the 4% question. How much can you actually afford to spend each year without that terrible fear of running out of money? If you've ever done any research on retirement, you've seen this number. 4%. It's the so-called safe withdrawal rate that's been the bedrock of financial planning for a whole generation. But in today's world, is it still safe? Let's take a closer look. So here's the simple idea behind it, and it's a guideline, not a guarantee. The rules suggest that you can withdraw 4% of your total portfolio in your very first year of retirement, and then you just adjust that dollar amount for inflation every year after that. And historically, this is giving retirees a really high probability of their money lasting for 30 years or more. But today, oh man, there's a huge debate around this rule. On one side, critics argue that with today's high stock prices and super low interest rates, 4% is just too risky for a long retirement. But on the other hand, if your retirement is going to be shorter, or maybe you want to leave a large inheritance, well, maybe 4% is actually too conservative. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all answer anymore. You know, this whole debate about withdrawal rates makes some people wonder, what if I could just take the risk off the table completely? What if I could create an income stream that I literally cannot outlive? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. This is where something called an annuity enters the picture. The basic idea is a trade. You give an insurance company a lump sum of your savings, and in return, they promise to send you a paycheck for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. You're basically transferring that longevity risk we just talked about directly onto their balance sheet. But look, a truly great retirement plan isn't just about spreadsheets and withdrawal rates. It's a holistic life plan because your financial decisions don't happen in a vacuum, right? They're connected to everything else. We can think of this holistic plan as having 3 core pillars that support your entire financial strategy: where you'll live, how you'll manage your taxes, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. First up, housing. For a lot of people, their home is their single biggest asset. So what's the plan? Are you going to downsize to unlock some of that equity, relocate to a place that's cheaper, or are you determined to stay put? Your answer has a massive impact on your retirement income. Then there's taxes. The big question in retirement isn't just how much money you withdraw, it's from which account you withdraw it. A really smart withdrawal strategy, blending different account types, can save you thousands upon thousands in taxes over your lifetime. And that means more money you actually get to spend. And finally, legacy. This is all about making sure your estate is handled the way you want it to be, and that your wishes are carried out. It also means planning for a scenario where you might not be able to manage your own affairs. It's really just about being prepared for all of life's stages. So we've covered the financial mechanics, the nuts and bolts. But the true measure of a successful retirement isn't found on a bank statement. No way. It's found in something much, much more important: purpose. And this really gets to the heart of it all. A fulfilling retirement is like a 3-legged stool. It's about having the passion and purpose to replace the structure of a career. It's about having strong social connections to keep you engaged. And it's about having the health to actually enjoy the freedom you worked so hard for. And this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. Your retirement plan is not some static document you create once and then file away. Think of it as a living roadmap. You create it, yes, but then you have to constantly monitor it and be ready to adjust your course as the markets and, your own life inevitably change. And that really is the key. Yeah, this stuff can feel complex, even overwhelming. But by following a structured, logical process, you can replace all that anxiety with genuine confidence and real clarity about your future. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. You can spend decades getting your money ready for retirement. But the ultimate question is, are you ready for retirement? Ready for the purpose, the passion, and the brand new beginning that's waiting for you?
I've spent a lot of time in these video sessions talking about advisor alpha, Monte Carlo simulations, and tax-efficient withdrawals. They are the engine of your plan. But as we just saw, the most successful retirement isn't the one with the most money, it's the one with the most life. If you have the pile but you don't have the health to enjoy it, or the social connections to share it, or a passion that gets you out of bed in the morning, then the math doesn't really matter. My job is to handle the spreadsheet so that you can handle the starting gun. So I'll leave you with that final question from our session. You spent decades getting your money ready for retirement, but are you ready? Are you ready for the purpose and the passion that comes next? If you want a partner to help you build that living roadmap, I'm here. Subscribe to keep learning with me. And if you're ready to start your own definitive plan, let's talk. Thanks for being part of this series.